All right, we're here at the Dollar Tree. So I saw this thing on Instagram from another homesteader that I follow, and I'll link her account below. But they were talking about how they make chicken feed, basically, out of stuff from the Dollar Tree. And I thought, well, gee, why not try it, right? Let's try it together and see what happens. So I almost never go into the Dollar Tree with all the kids for reasons that I have stated below. And if you're curious what those are, I'll link that below too. But we're going to do it today. We're going to make an exception because we are in town. And I want to take advantage of this while I'm in town because we're not coming back to town for another week. So let's run into the Dollar Tree, get what we need, and I'll show you this project when we get home. First step is just to get actually in the store. I do not like using the carts at the Dollar Tree for the kids because I feel like they are a tipping hazard. They're so small, so we always bring in a stroller for the baby. Ivy's gonna help us with a basket, and she has a couple of dollars burning a hole in her pocket. So first we just kind of look around and she figures out what she wants to buy, and she settles on some candy, so good for her. And now let's get what we need. We need a bunch of dried beans, and then this other thing we need, man, I had a hard time finding it. I knew it would be here somewhere. Let's go look over by the kitchen supplies. I'm looking for a splash guard, like when you fry chicken. There it is. We need one of those. We all got everything we needed. Ivy got her candy machine and some candy to put in it. We're gonna go check out. And then we all load back up to make the long drive home. First thing we're gonna do is cut up this splash guard, and we're going to make it so that these screen circles fit on the top of our mason jars. So the easiest way to do that is we're just going to trace. I do think maybe I'd like more in the future, so I'm going to try to trace these close together, and if this works well, I'm going to make more so I can do maybe 7 or 8 jars at a time. I think I can get probably 8 or 9 out of this just $1 guard. I can't find my good scissors. Somebody used them and didn't put them back. We're gonna try a box cutter because I don't think these kindergarten scissors are gonna cut this. The box cutter actually did not work very well, and it was kind of slippery and kind of dangerous, so I do not recommend this technique. It scored the circles, but it didn't pop them out. So in the end, I ended up using the kindergarten scissors, which actually ended up working okay. These are not perfect circles, it doesn't matter. You just wanna make sure they're gonna cover up the top of the jar because we're gonna secure them on later with some jar rings. We're adding a ½ cup of each one of our beans we bought to each quart mason jar. So we're gonna try 3 different types. I have pinto, I have Great Northern, and I have lentils. And then we're going to fill each jar with just water from the tap. After we fill it up, we're gonna put the screens on and then secure them on with our jar rings. There we go, it's pretty easy to do, and they feel nice and secure. That's what it looks like from the top. And the sieve pieces are just gonna act like filters when we dump out the water so that we don't get all the beans out too. We're just gonna push them back and let them sit overnight, and after 12 hours, we drain them. And then we let them sit like that. And I'm going to rinse them once a day. So every morning we're just gonna fill it back up with water and immediately drain, and they should sprout. Okay, so this is 72 hours later. You can see, especially here on this lentils jar, we have some really nice sprouts coming out and how much the volume of what's in the jar has increased. The pinto beans are starting to sprout as well. And these Great Northern beans are, but not nearly as much as the other ones, but they are sprouting, so it is working. It's just taking longer. So it's said to go till day 5. Today is day 3.5, kind of what time it is. So we're gonna give it 2 more days, and we're gonna come back and check in and see what we've got for our chickens, our ducks, and our geese. Okay, it's day 5. Here's what we got. The lentils look awesome. We're gonna give some of these today. The pinto beans finally look like they're starting to come along, so I'm thinking another day or 2 on those. The Great Northern beans just kind of wah. They did sprout, you can see that, but they're not doing anything. So maybe these aren't the best kind of beans to sprout. You guys can let me know, or maybe these got too wet or they're duds. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm gonna do what I normally do. I'm gonna gather the scraps from breakfast to feed our bird mixture. We have geese, we have ducks, we have chickens, but we're gonna add some sprouts to it today too. Okay, before I go out and feed the birds, I did want to talk about cost. So we spent $4 at the Dollar Tree. The screens can be used over and over again. So basically we spent $3 worth of beans, and we used about 1/3 of the bag for each jar. Okay, so if this makes sense, here represents $1 worth of beans from the Dollar Tree. Okay, and I'm gonna feed, I took some out of this jar to feed the birds, and you see there's still probably 2 batches left. So if I figure $1 for 3 jars, and that total is 9 servings. So each jar costs me about 12 cents. Each serving costs me about 12 cents for the chickens. And obviously we can make that cheaper if we buy beans in bulk somewhere. Dollar Tree is not the cheapest place to buy air dry beans, but it was very convenient. So we could get that cost down even more. Okay, so the goal obviously isn't that sprouting your own seeds there is going to feed your chicken or ducks or geese, whatever you got, fully. The idea is that everything that we can do to provide sustenance for our birds is something less that I need to buy for as far as commercial feed goes. So our chickens are in a yard here. Well, I keep saying chickens. Our bird mixture is in a yard here. A little more than a 1/4 acre area that we have. We used to free range them, and when we free ranged them, we didn't have to give them anything. We just fed them scraps because they could forage for a lot of things. But free ranging didn't work in the long term because we have a lot of little kids, and when birds are free range, they can poop wherever they want to, including all over bikes and swing sets and things like that. So we stopped free ranging because we felt like it wasn't sanitary for the kids with all their play stuff. And I don't have a way to keep the play stuff contained. It's easier to keep the birds contained than try to contain the play yard right now. For logistical reasons. So the birds are more contained in that larger area, and they still have quite a large area to roam around. They've been very happy there. It's been a little over a year. But we do have to feed them some commercial feed now because they cannot free range all that. So everything that we can do to supplement their diet is less commercial feed that we need to buy. And so we feed them scraps from the table, obviously, and by adding these sprouts, we're able to also make sure we're mixing in some really good nutrition. They get some greens, they get a lot of protein from those sprouts. And so we're not just feeding them a lot of carbs. This morning there's obviously a lot of protein because there were scrambled eggs in there, but a lot of times our scraps end up being just a lot of carbs, bread crusts and pizza crusts and things like that that the kids don't eat, is what ends up going out there. It's not a lot of meat, it's not a lot of leftover greens because we do a good job eating our vegetables, and so they get a lot of carbs. And so this will help mix in some better nutrition for them, and hopefully will reduce our overall need to buy commercial feed. I'm going to try some other things here coming up to make more of our own feed type mixes to help reduce our need for commercial feed. The biggest thing for us is that it actually needs to save us money over time. I'm not just about getting off of commercial feed to get off of commercial feed because I don't have a lot of extra money to spend. So if I can do things like scraps, like these sprouts that are very frugal to reduce needing to go out and buy the feed so it saves us money, that's something I'm interested in. I know I could feed them with my absolute own mixture. I've looked at a lot of different ones, but doesn't necessarily save me money over what I was already buying, if that makes sense. So obviously too, the Dollar Tree is where we got this stuff to try it out. But you can buy lentils and beans and things to sprout much cheaper if you buy them in bulk from a bulk or a wholesale grocery hauler. So that's probably something we'll do now that we know that this works. And I'll probably set it up so my jars are all started on different days so that I kind of have this constant rotation of sprouts. And if you didn't know already, sprouts are awesome for us too as people. We like to put them on top of salads, mix them in rice bowls, add them into omelets. So they're a great source of nutrition for us. So it's for the birds and for us. I hope you enjoyed watching. We will catch you all soon.